Look around you. Look at the screen glowing before your eyes, at the headlines screaming catastrophes, at the comment boxes full of fury, and at the deafening silence that arises when you lay your head on the pillow at night. We live at the height of technological comfort, in the era of instant information, but never, in all of human history, have we been so spiritually hungry. Modern man, proud of his reason and his science, walks like a sleepwalker on the edge of an abyss. Carl Jung, the great Swiss psychiatrist who dared to dive into the depths where the light of reason does not reach, saw this moment coming. He saw that by killing our gods and burning our myths, we did not become free, we became orphans. This video is not just a biography, it is an urgent diagnosis. Let us dissect the soul of the 21st century, using the scalpel of analytical psychology to understand why, despite having everything, we feel like we are nothing. Subscribe to the channel now. If you seek depth in a world of surfaces, this is your place. Activate the bell, for the journey into the unconscious begins now. We start with the fundamental diagnosis: dissociation. Jung warned that modern consciousness has dangerously separated itself from its instinctive roots. We build skyscrapers, but we have lost contact with the earth. The man of the 21st century suffers from a specific neurosis, which is not only biological, but existential. We have compartmentalized life, work on one side, leisure on the other, repressed feelings in a dark corner. This fragmentation creates the void. The meaning we so desperately seek is not something that can be bought or downloaded in an app. Meaning arises from the connection with the totality of the psyche. And today, we are painfully partial. We live in our heads, forgetting that the soul also inhabits the gut, the blood, the ancestral history we carry. This leads us to the death of myths. In the past, thunder was the voice of a god. Today, it is merely an atmospheric electrical discharge. We gained the explanation, but we lost the meaning. The world has been disenchanted. Jung knew that human beings cannot endure a life without myths, without a greater narrative that connects them to the cosmos. When culture removes the sacred vessels, the rituals, the legends, the symbols, the psychic energy that once flowed there does not disappear. It floods the unconscious and returns in a distorted form. Without temples for the gods, we build altars for celebrities, for money, for the state, or for technology. Our worship has become profane, and that is why our satisfaction is always ephemeral. And what is the clinical result of this? The epidemic of anxiety and depression plaguing the globe. Modern medicine tends to treat the psyche like a broken chemical machine. Lack of serotonin. Take this pill. Jung, although a doctor, would say that this is only half the story. Often, neurosis is the suffering of a soul that has not found its meaning. Anxiety is the fire alarm of a house that is burning from the inside. Trying to turn off the alarm with sedatives without extinguishing the existential fire is a tragedy. 21st century depression, in many cases, is a forced mourning. The psyche goes on strike because the life the ego has built is arid, artificial, and unsustainable for the self. We need to stop seeing the symptom as an enemy and start asking, what does my soul want to change in my life through this pain? But the problem is not just individual, it leaks into the streets. We arrive at the collective shadow. Jung postulated that everything we deny in ourselves, our anger, our envy, our cruelty, does not disappear. It is swept into the shadow. And when an entire society represses its frustrations, the shadow becomes dense, palpable, and dangerous. What we see today in political polarization, in culture wars, in online hatred, is the massive projection of the shadow. It is much easier to say that evil is in the opposing party, in the other ideology, in the neighbor who thinks differently, than to look at the monster within us. Fanaticism is, invariably, a repressed doubt. The more we scream against the enemy, the more we are fighting against a rejected part of ourselves. Jung said, "What you resist persists." As long as we do not recognize that we are capable of all the evil we see in the news, we will continue to reproduce it unconsciously. If this analysis is resonating with you, leave a like. This helps carry this message to other minds seeking clarity. On this stage of projections enters the digital persona. The persona, for Jung, is the mask we use to coexist in society. It is necessary, yes, but in the 21st century, The persona has swallowed the individual. On social media, we are all editors of our own lives, curating a showcase of happiness, success, and unshakable morality. The danger is when the ego identifies totally with the persona. We believe we are the photo on Instagram, and the more polished the mask, the darker the shadow that grows behind it. This disconnection generates a terrible loneliness, for no one is loved for who they are, only for what they appear to be. The mental exhaustion of sustaining this performance 24 hours a day is draining the vitality of an entire generation. The cure proposed by Jung is individuation. Do not confuse this with individualism. Individualism is the ego screaming, "I want." Individuation is the heroic process of becoming who you really are, integrating all parts of the psyche. It is stepping out of the herd. Mass society wants you to be a predictable cog in the machine. Individuation requires you to listen to the inner voice, even if it goes against the chorus of the majority. It is a lonely path, often painful, but it is the only path to authenticity. In a world that demands ideological and consumerist conformity, becoming a conscious individual is the greatest act of rebellion possible. To walk this path, we need to rediscover the forgotten language, symbols. Our rational mind speaks in data, statistics, and words. The unconscious speaks in dreams, images, and intuitions. Jung taught us to take dreams seriously, not as superstition, but as unread letters from our total being. Synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences that seem to defy probability, are winks from the universe, suggesting there is an underlying order to the chaos. In the 21st century, recovering the ability to think symbolically is vital, so as not to be crushed by the coldness of numbers and algorithms. This inevitably leads us to the sacred. Jung was emphatic: the spiritual, or numinous, experience is healing. It is not about adhering to rigid dogmas or failed institutions, but about having a direct connection with the mystery of life. "I don't believe, I know," he said in a famous interview, referring to the reality of the psyche. Spirituality in the 21st century needs to free itself from the shackles of fundamentalism and atheist materialism to become a personal quest for meaning. Without this vertical dimension, we are just intelligent animals awaiting death. With it, we are participants in a cosmic drama. The great challenge, the opus magnum of our era, is integration. We need to stop wanting to be good all the time and start wanting to be whole. Being whole means accepting that we have light and darkness. It means that instead of projecting my hatred onto politics, I recognize my capacity to hate and deal with it consciously. A man who knows his shadow is harmless, for he has control over it. A man who thinks he is a saint is a powder keg. World peace will not come from treaties signed by bureaucrats, but from the sum of individuals who have made peace with their inner wars. We conclude, therefore, that Jung was not just a doctor of the past, but a prophet of our present. He saw that technology would give us the power of gods, but if we continued with the wisdom of children, we would destroy ourselves. His call is clear: look inward. The world outside is a reflection of the inner world. If we want to heal society, politics, the planet, the first task is to heal the split within the psyche itself. The task is immense, but the reward is life itself. Leave a comment below. Which of Jung's concepts do you think is most necessary today? The shadow, individuation, or synchronicity? I want to read your opinion. Share this video with those who need to awaken. Until the next journey.